So this is Baruch Fleischman, your old Saba here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, reading Maaseh, the fifth story of Rabbi Nachman. It's a story called the Ben Melech Shechoya Maravanim Teves that was made out of precious stones. And Rav Shik had been making this commentary, and he's talking about the Ben Melech as being the Jewish people. And the Jewish people are all made out of the precious stones of our Torah and mitzvahs and our chastity, and our ability to be able to come close to the Ein Sof Baruch Hu and our devekus with the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. But in our exile that we are suppressed. And so therefore we look like everybody else. But the jealousy is always around the corner because we are able to do things and we want to do things that nobody else wants to do. They want to live the life of a Gentile. We want to live the life of a Jew. And the life of a Jew is so much more superior. It causes tremendous problems. So we are in exile, and we are under their thumb. So here's the princess now. She has found a witch who could cast a spell onto her son, or onto her brother, who is supposed to be made out of precious stones, and she found out what she actually are. She got close enough to see that. She asked him, is it possible that you can make a spell in such a way that can never be broken? So that's where we're at right now, and we're on these words right here. It says, Amar HaMachashev. So the Machashev, the witch, said, Im yashlicha hakishu v'lamayim, if you take the spell, now how you do this I don't know, and you throw it into water, lo yuchol levad la'od, it can never be nullified. Because Rav Shik writes, this corresponds to that, one against the other. What does that mean? So this is a basic Hasidic idea. A person who is accustomed to bathe himself in a mikveh of mayim, because through doing this, the spirit, the wind, the breath, the scent of Tuma runs away from that person. Because the concept of ruach, which is wind, okay, the wind is the breath, the spirit. Ki ruach im mayim einam misarvim yachad. They don't mix together. That is, water and air don't mix. So therefore, a spell, so this corresponds to that. If you take the kisha, which apparently is an evil spirit, into water, it's very difficult to get it out of that. And she did this, or he did this, she did that. She took her spell, which was making her brother into a leper, and she sent it, that is the kisha, the spell, into water. So this is a secret, Rav Shik writes. This is so of a pasuk in Shemos, in the Exodus. So the Paro, he commanded to all the people, saying, Call haben hayilud, he says hayilud, he says all the sons that are born, tashlichu b'yorach tashlikuchu, throw them into the Nile River. Ki Paro choya mechashev goda, because Paro, he gained his tremendous powers as a result of the fact of his wizardry. V'yodash im yashlichochas neshamas yisachal l'mayim, and he saw this, that if you drown the Jewish soul, the words are v'yada, and he knows, shim yashlichochas neshamas yisachal l'mayim, if you send the neshamas of the Jewish people into the water, and that will make it possible for the kishuv, the real spell, to have power over them. But he didn't know something. The fact is that when he put Moshe, incidentally, who was born and died in the month of Adar, which is a concept of water. So he says on the seventh day of that month. So he says, Samo as Moshe b'mayim k'Moshe kasev v'tasim b'sof b'suf, and they threw him into the reeds al sfas hayar, that was on the side of the river. Because this actually nullified the klipa shalakesha, klipa, which is the false narrative. Now, what he meant, I think, when he said that a spell is achizas anayim, holds the eyes, that it's possible to create. Our minds are such that you could create an atmosphere or a way of thinking where every slight little thing refers to some sort of a spell, that these spirits inhabited, these different spirits, which are bad things, inhabit all different kinds of places, and they concentrate on them, and they think of it, and this becomes the image in their minds. Achizas enayim. That's my definition. We'll see if we learn more about that anyway. So he said, let's go back. V'tasim b'sof al sfas hayam al yedei zer bebitel as a klipa shalakesha, because he says that water actually purifies. Sha'asacha the Yaldecha b'Yisrael, they did this to the Jewish kids, and they drowned. V'nasan lecha b'ben melech mitzora ma'od, and as a result of this, he became tremendously leprous. His beauty was gone. Al chotmo tzaras, on his nose there was leprosy. V'al panav, and on his face. V'al shar gufo, and on the rest of his body. Ki al yedecha b'kisha v'adan na'asa mitzora, because this witchcraft makes the person into a leper. Shuhu motzi ra, because the word mitzora in Hebrew, which is the root of the concept of this disease, leprosy, is really from the concept, it's a construction out of these two words, motzi, which means brings out evil. That's mitzora. The meaning, normally the way of understanding leprosy is to understand it's connected to bad speech. There's lots of different ways to become a leper, not just the way the leprosy that they're talking about, that we're talking about here, is not the leprosy that we have, like say, in the islands. It's not a bacterial disease. It's not something like that. This leprosy is tied to motzi ra, to bring bad things out, which is a spell, and subsequently becomes a part of that person. But there's lots of different ways that it can affect you. He said, so this, we have this pasuk. He says, this will be the Torah of the Metzora. Zos, what does Zos mean? This. He Toraso shall motzi shemra. This is the Torah of a person who speaks evil. Motzi shemra. So once again, achizas anayim, holding on to the eyes and saying different bad things. In other words, calling on the forces of badness. He said, and they are there. Rabbi Chia says, like the call man, the apik lish nebisha, anyone who speaks lashon hara, this is gossip, and attempts to take down other people with words, is ta'avan le called shaifui. Becomes smitten, all of his limbs. So he said, so the king saw this. So he brought in doctors, machashvim, and different kinds of wizards. But it didn't help, because the malchus switches. Sometimes malchus is able to receive from kedusha. In other words, malchus is at the bottom, and all of the kedusha that we are able to bring down into the world, she receives it. And then he said, Pa'amayim, and then sometimes, Mikabel Mechatuma, that she receives from the Tuma. Yehuda, she is palatable. So the king, went back, and he went to the Jews, and he said, you better pray for my son, so that everything will be good. Because the power of prayer, that power that we need to believe in more than anything, that power of prayer is really the power of the Jews, and it's only found by the Jews. The Maimon Zal, as the rabbi said, al pasuk in this pasuk, mi goy godel, where do we find a great man? Asher lo Elokim karovim alav, that you have Elokim that are near to them. Mais b'sefina achas, so there's a story about a certain boat. Shechosu kula shel ovdech gochavim, that the whole thing was filled with idolatry. But there was one Jew there. Hagia l'neis echad. So they came. Hagiu l'neis echad. Amra la'osa Yehuda Baloni. So they came to a certain. I'm going to word it l'neis echad. And they said to the Jews, Tol malud v'aldach of the neis hazeh. So he said, they reached apparently, the neis is the mast, one mast. I'm not sure what that means. Hagiu l'neis echad. Amar la'osa Yehuda Baloni. So they said to this Jew, Yusuf, Tol malud v'aldach the neis hazeh. So he says, you take some money and go up to that mast. And you would take something for us from there. And I'm not sure what the translation of this story is, but doing the best I can. He says, I'm not that. He says, I'm just a guest. I can see where I'm going. So I guess he meant to say, I'm not sure what that had to do with the money and so on and so forth. So they said, we have a guest, here's a Jew. So every place you go, your God is with you. And that you're the people that God is close to you. So I didn't get all of that. I'll work on it. And Mitzvah Hashem, the next year, I'll maybe have a better translation of that phrase. This is Baruch Fleischman. This is the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. There we go.